Deputy Vice Chancellor, Management Services, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Development Services, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics and Research, the Registrar, the Bursar, the University Librarian, the Provost College of Medicine, the Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Deans of other faculties, distinguished members of University Senate, directors and heads of departments, other principal officers of the university, your Lordship, spiritual and temporal, your Royal Majesties and Highnesses, distinguished academics and professional colleagues, distinguished non-teaching colleagues, family members, church members and friends, dear students, past and present, gentlemen of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I thank the Almighty God for sparing my life and providing the opportunity to deliver my inaugural lecture today. Unto him be the glory and honor forever and ever. It is a great privilege to welcome you all to this inaugural lecture. I'm deeply honored and humbled by your presence, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. I express my profound gratitude for your kind approval to deliver this inaugural lecture, thus making today a reality. Today's lecture is the 7th inaugural lecture in the 2018-2019 academic session, and the 5th inaugural lecture from the Department of Economics since its establishment in 1962, when Professor T.S. delivered the 4th inaugural lecture from the Department of Economics on the 5th of December 1969. I was just 1 year and 3 months old and would never have imagined that I would be here today to present this lecture. Mr. Vice Chancellor, it's particularly remarkable that the inaugural lecturer of today is the first female professor of economics. Of economics to be appointed by this great University of Lagos, the University of First Choice and the Nation's Pride. Thus, it gives me great pleasure that I have the privilege to stand before this august audience to deliver the first inaugural lecture by a female professor in the Department of Economics, University of Lagos, 2 years, 10 months, and 25 days after the chair was announced. It is thus fulfilling today that I'm inaugurating my professorial chair in the field of economics with major research interests focused on development economics, particularly economic analysis of human resources, human development, and development finance. For this, I give all glory to the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the all-sufficient God. Just like David in the Bible, I often soliloquize, who am I, O Lord God, and what is my house, that you have brought me this far? I worship you, O Lord God, I bow before your throne of grace. Mr. Vice Chancellor, the journey of my educational pursuit started from a humble beginning at St. Peter's UNA Primary School, Bashwa, Shomolu, Lagos, for my primary education. Then to CMS Girls Grammar School, Bariga, Lagos, where I obtained the West African School Certificate, ordinary level, through the courtesy of the free education program of the Lagos State government in the 80s. My quest for knowledge was met with providence when I earned the Bureau for External Aid Scholarship of the Federal Government of Nigeria in 1987 to pursue my tertiary education in the former Soviet Union. Traveling to the former Soviet Union was met with much joy and apprehension as to what a teenage girl aspiring to become an economist would really learn in a cold socialist state. It was considered an invitation to the views of the leftist radicals. It was a risk that I am eternally grateful for, because it afforded me the opportunity to be trained as a well-grounded economist. My early exposure to the works of Karl Marx and other great economists inspired me to practice economic theory with applications, seeking an explanation to the issues of low human dignity, inequality, and other features of underdevelopment, and exploring interventions for boosting human development across life cycles. It is therefore an awesome feeling to stand before this august audience to deliver my inaugural lecture entitled No Simple Answers, No Easy Rides, the Economy and the Pursuit of Development. The title for today's lecture was guided by the need to focus on my research efforts within the general framework of my discipline, as it is customary to do so in inaugural lectures. It is also guided by the divine inspiration I got while reflecting on the choice of topic, and it struck me deep when I found the golden key to unlock the hidden treasure of this lecture, that God is a development expert. It's a known fact that through the Holy Bible that God's chosen ones and the apples of his eyes, the Israelites, were in bondage for 430 years. When God saw their oppression and heard their cry, in the hands of their captors, he decided to deliver them from captivity. He took them through the wilderness to prepare them for the journey ahead to the promised land, the land of Canaan, flowing with milk and honey, which he has promised their forefathers. One thing is certain, the journey to the promised land was no easy ride, and there were no simple answers to the multiplicity of issues raised by the Israelites in the wilderness. In the context of this lecture, the Israelites' journey to the promised land is likened to the desires, aspirations, and journeys of every human being or nation who thirsts for happiness, fulfillment, peace, progress, prosperity, and development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there are no simple answers and no easy rides in the pursuit of good life, better economic outcomes and development. We are all on a promised land journey, yearning for a better and improved standard of living on a daily basis. It is my belief that the view of development as a journey entails that investment in people is crucial to the speed, direction, and shape of the journey. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. My intention in this lecture is to highlight the need to recognize development as an imperative, and also to reflect on the many puzzles and uniqueness of understanding and analyzing the process of economic development through the prism of human development using startup from my research work. The attention of the audience will then be drawn to my contribution to the discipline, to the university, to the community, and my future prospects. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. The economics discipline is undeniably one of the major fields of study which influences the general well-being of mankind. There are many definitions of economics. However, in this lecture, I align myself with the definition by Leonard Robbins. Robbins defined economics as a social science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means, which have alternative uses. Many deductions are made from the keywords of this definition. These are keywords such as social science, human behavior, ends, scarce means, and alternative uses have been subject to various interpretations. This arguably defeats that although economics focuses on various issues of making choices and meet scarce resources, the fact that it's a social science defeats that society occupies a prominent position in the sphere in which discipline operates. Every society is confronted with the challenges of solving the basic economic questions and find solutions to the same in the interest of the society by promoting a healthy and productive economy. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Economists are trained to identify these economic questions and find solutions to same in the interest of the society by promoting a healthy and productive economy. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. I must say that this description is quite contrary to the belief of many that economists are trained to be miserly or parsimonious or close-fisted. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Economic discipline is often associated with money. But I must say that economic discipline is diverse and has extended its reach virtually into every aspect of human behavior. Today we have industrial economics, we have monetary economics, we have financial economics, we have development economics, among others. In fact, I must say, for any society to survive, as well as ensure improved individual well-being, everything must be studied through the lens of an economist. And that is the truth. Viewed through the lens of a development economy, the actors around the world today reveal that the global economy appears to be sharply divided between the haves and the have-nots. There has been remarkable economic progress in some countries, while rising poverty, inequality, and unemployment persist in others. For instance, in 2015, half of the world's extreme poor, as shown, live in just 5 countries, and Nigeria is one of them. We have seen of poor people like this in many developing countries. Here is another manifestation of poverty, very dirty environment. Here is another one, very dirty environment. Schools without basic amenities like this are all over many African countries. It might also be interesting to observe the trend showing the relationship between life expectancy and per capita income as at 2016 across the world. There is the possibility of having a life expectancy of 85 years and above if an individual, that's the upper limit there, is living in the United States of America, United Kingdom, Switzerland, Australia, in contrast to many countries in the Southern Hemisphere. For instance, in Nigeria, the life expectancy at birth is 53 years. If there are 53 years, if you have 53 years and above in this auditorium, just count your blessings and name them one by one because you are living on extra time. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the foregoing discussion gives a glimpse of the preoccupation of development practitioners. The specific fields of concern of development economies are to study and prescribe policies for underdeveloped countries that will attract the widespread poverty, inequality, dependency, and unemployment. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to present the evolution of the concept of economic development and its distinguishing features to justify why we may want to believe that there are no simple answers and no easy right to explain development experiences across the nation. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Traditionally, development is concerned with change in economic well-being, measured in terms of sustained increases in real per capita GNP. This definition equates development with growth. It is expected that the benefits of growth should have a trickle-down effect on the masses. The validity of this narrow definition has been seriously debated when it became obvious that more people are living below the poverty line, particularly in developing nations. Resulting from this, development practitioners raised the bar by advancing the argument that development should be about reduction in poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Further arguments suggest the need to focus attention on the satisfaction of basic needs. And this led to the call for development to be people-centered. That's when we have human development-centered approach. Under this definition, development encompasses the attainment of growth, sustained enrichment of people's lives, and poverty reduction. Human development here is seen as a function and a barometer of economic development. In fact, the proponents of this approach made us understand that human development is indeed economic development. Further discussion led to the idea by Matthias saying that development is about the expansion of human capabilities. This discussion has thrown up a challenge for rethinking the importance of inclusive growth. Contemporary thoughts on development have generated the term sustainable development, which is defined as the ability to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. The sustainable development paradigm has to do with the fact that development is attainable only when economic growth, poverty reduction, and environmental protection are pursued simultaneously. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. The complex, multi-dimensional and dynamic perspectives to development are embedded in the Sustainable Development Goals designed by the United Nations. And these goals are as presented. The 17 goals are listed in the pictorial diagram. Now, what we have found out in the context of development discourse is the fact that economic growth is a necessary condition, but not sufficient for economic development. The unique relationship between growth and development can be better explained using the love story of a young man who graduated with first class and immediately got married to the love of his life. And the wife got pregnant in the first month of the marriage, and 9 months later gave birth to a set of triplets. After 3 months, the woman became pregnant again and gave birth to another set of triplets. The joyful young man embraced his wife and promised her that he would buy flight tickets and together with their 6 children travel to London to see the Queen, Paris, Dubai, Washington DC on holiday, yet the young man has no job. In an academic environment like ours, we all know that this is practically impossible. That can only come to reality in his dream at night. Why? This is because without job, there won't be any income to meet the basic needs of his family, surplus of protein. It is extremely difficult to achieve the broader goals of development without economic growth. And that is why we have it in goal number 8. It's very important. It's very important. Now, at this junction, it's appropriate to share my view on the concept of development. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. My favorite conceptualization of development, and one which I have nurtured with my students over time, however, is the one describing development as a process that embraces both sustained increases in real per capita income as a means and human development as an end. For development to occur, economic growth is a necessary condition, as I said earlier on. This must be accompanied with structural transformation and desirable social changes. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Permit me to briefly shed light on some fundamental issues of concern and my perspective of human development. I align myself with the view that human development is about enlarging freedom so that all human beings can pursue choices that they value. People should be free to make choices such as long and healthy life, political freedom, social freedom, economic freedom, to opportunities for being creative and productive. The freedom for these choices have two fundamental aspects. Freedom of well-being, represented by functioning, as seen here, represented by functioning and capabilities. Freedom of agency, represented by voice and autonomy. Functioning is what a person is, what a person does, what a person can do, what a person can be. While capabilities is the freedom that a person has in terms of choice of functioning. Choices determine who we are. Choices determine what we do. Now, those choices rest on 4 fundamental foundations as presented, sir. The most important is our capabilities. Now, Amartya Sen gave an example in his explanation of the concept of capabilities. An example of a bicycle. If you send a bicycle to a disabled person, you have not improved the person's capability very much. Because the disabled person does not have the capacity to ride the bicycle. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, what is the key message here? The key message is aptly captured by the United Nations Development Program, that human development is the development of the people through building of human capabilities by the people, through active participation in the processes that shape their lives, and for the people by improving their lives. This perspective, however, widens the scope or the focus of economic thinking from not referring to people as mere machines in the production processes, but it underscores the fact that investment in people matters for economic development. It does make sense to encourage my fellow economic professionals to go beyond placing emphasis only on human capital investment in terms of education and health, and broaden investigation into such issues like gender equality, poverty alleviation, governance, and human rights, among others, demanded by the people as a way of enhancing their capabilities and areas of choices. Now, there is also the need to issue a clearer call to our policymakers that they should stop wasting our resources. Rather, they should invest to enhance people's capabilities. For instance, if the young people are empowered, they will not engage in fraudulent businesses on the internet. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to focus attention on my modest contribution to research. As an economist in the pursuit of development, I have taken part in seminars, workshops, and conferences that have taken me to 21 countries and 4 continents. Equally, I have published articles in various reputable academic journals. Quite a number of these publications have been cited severally by international and national scholars. So permit me to present a few of my research here. Before you, the details are well documented in the inaugural lecture before you, in the lecture booklet before you. These are some of my cited works on Google Scholar and ResearchGate. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. My research has continuously been light on the Nigerian economy with a view to ascertaining the existence of the phenomenon of growth without development. The development trajectory experience shows that the developed economies of the world evolved over time and moved from primary production to secondary production, that is manufacturing. The expansion of the manufacturing sector propelled industrialization. And this catapulted these economies to the service sector. No economy in the world, no economy is expected to deviate from this developmental path. The more industrialized the nation is, the more developed that nation will be. My study on the Nigerian economy and development challenges reveals that the country has experienced the phenomenon of growth without development. A look at the structure and patterns of output shows that the overall performance of the economy, as measured by the growth of real GDP, has been fluctuating and not too impressive. The percentage contribution of the 3 groups of sectors to output showed that the service sector provides the largest contribution to GDP, which is 36%, followed by agricultural sector, which provides about 25% to GDP. Industry provides 18%. This can clearly be seen here. The service sector is shown there, clearly seen. Now, what is the implication of this? This implies that the Nigerian economy has deviated from the widely known path. The manufacturing sector needed for industrialization has been neglected, and the service sector has taken over. Necessary ingredients to promote industrialization are missing. And what are the factors responsible for this? Our studies identify major challenges responsible for this, the challenges facing the Nigerian economy. These challenges are multidimensional in nature and are responsible for the phenomenon of growth without economic development. These include bad governance, infrastructural bottlenecks, like lack of constant power supply, bad roads, and so on and so forth, lack of conducive business environment occasioned by macroeconomic instability, inefficient public enterprises, human resource deficiency, brain drain, and chronic failure of economic policies. We observe that the causes of economic policy failure in Nigeria are non-economic in nature. They are non-economic and multidimensional in nature, and this includes corruption. For instance, we had a case in this country of a snake swallowing 36 million naira. A situation where we have unstable quality. Today, Boko Haram, tomorrow, kidnapping. Day after yesterday, the issue of rural settlement and all that. This brings about unstable situation in the economy. Putting square pegs in round holes. For instance, an economist doing the work of a commercial bus driver, a trained lawyer working as a primary school teacher. This is not good for the nation. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I have undertaken several studies to demonstrate that the country's economic performance has failed to enhance human development. Virtually all indices of human development are embarrassingly low. A look at the human development profile and other comparator countries has shown, revealed that human development in Nigeria is low. Just let's look at the last line there. The rank as per 2017 was 157, while Malaysia, the first land, stood at 57, and yet Nigeria and Malaysia started together in the 60s. Our studies concluded that Nigeria has the potential to become Africa's largest economy. However, much of its human resource potential have remained largely untapped. It is my opinion and my belief that there is the need to vigorously pursue an ideological philosophy that places heavy emphasis on human capital investment and human development. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my contributions on governance, public spending, and human development outcomes in Nigeria are published in a paper which investigated the interface between changing patterns of political regimes and nature of public spending, with a view to ascertaining whether it is responsible for human resource deficiency in Nigeria. Findings reveal that the state of the quality of life and social indicators leaves much to be desired despite the plethora of economic development programs, strategies, and policies. It was also revealed that public spending and human development outcomes was low, and this was as a result of political instability, lack of political will, corruption, and so on and so forth. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, a number of my research contributions have been in the area of investment in human capital, which with a focus on education and health. The Yoruba people do say, "Ọmọ tí wọn kò kọ́ ni yóò gbé ilé tí wọ́n kọ́ tà," meaning an untrained child will end up squandering the parents' riches. My study on investment in education and economic growth in Nigeria has been read 3,124 times and cited 114 times. Another study on the role of human capital in economic development has been cited 48 times by scholars across the world. We can check my citations on Google Scholar, ResearchGate, Academia.edu, and RIPET. The Yoruba worldview has proverbs that capture the significance of good health in every human endeavor. Health is wealth. In our study, which was widely circulated by African Development Bank, we investigated the impact of macro and non-economic factors on public health expenditure in Nigeria, and we found out that the essential macroeconomic factors such as economic output and oil revenue are important drivers of public health expenditure. However, we found out that technological progress and non-economic factors remain the largest contributor to annual change in public health expenditure. A Yoruba proverb says, "Àìlówó lọ́wọ́ baba ìjayà, àìlówó lọ́wọ́ baba tẹ́nitẹ́ni." Lack of money is the greatest fear and disgrace. Owó ní bí òun kò sí nílé kí wọ́n má dábàá òun lẹ́yìn òun. Money says, in his absence, no one should plan. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, as a young researcher in 2002, findings from, I tried as much as possible to gain more insight into the characteristics, dimensions, strengths, and causes of rural poverty in Nigeria. Findings from this study reveal that the rural poor are largely characterized by prevalence of large household size, illiteracy, low level of capital, lack of access to productive resources, among others. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in the area of poverty allegations, I also investigated with investigated the linkage between education and poverty in Nigeria, and the results show that a percentage change in the tertiary enrollment rate will lead to 3.1% reduction in the level of poverty in the country. Now, the assumption here in economics, we work with assumption. The assumption here is that the higher the enrollment rate, the higher the graduate turnout. Now, despite the high level of unemployment in the country, a graduate of a tertiary institution, for instance, has higher chances of any increased income, which ultimately will improve its level of welfare. Now, what is the central message here? The central message here for parents that are present is that they should continue to invest in the education of their children. Despite the unemployment situation in the country, it pays off to do so in the long run. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my contribution in the area of gender and development studies. I'm often asked to explain the rationale and concerns of gender equality issues in development discourse. I am asked to justify investment in women against the backdrop of the popular saying that women's education ends in the kitchen. I am always asked how Nigerian women have endured despite ongoing insecurity and instability. Some go to the extent of asking what and where is economics in gender equality issues. Some of my research on gender and development studies are published in several journals as listed. A study I conducted, however, which was published in 2007 to assess whether the various strategies and policies implemented really fit the goal of ensuring access to and improving the quality of education for girls and women brings much joy to me. Why? This study was a reference point in the preparation of the Gender in Nigeria report in the year 2012, published by the British Council, Nigeria. My studies have repeatedly argued that there is a need for the Nigerian state to promote dynamic integration into the development process. Now, the question on many lips normally is, what are women looking for? Just like many feminist economists, I have underscored in many of my studies that advocates of gender equality believe the term does not mean that women and men should be the same. No. Nor does it mean that boys and girls must be treated the same way. What it simply means is that all human beings should be free to develop their personal abilities and be able to live equally, fulfilling life, and making choices without limitations set by strict gender rules. And our attention was brought to this issue by the president of African Development Bank just last Monday, Dr. Akin Adeshino, at the African Union Summit in Niger Republic, where he told us that no bird can fly with one wing. There is no bird that can fly with one wing. Now, what's the take-home from here? What's the take-home phrase? The take-home phrase is give women the chance. Give women the chance. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my research studies on development finance are all aimed at guiding the policymakers through the enormous task of formulating and implementing result-oriented policies for the nation. Our study, which investigated the relationship between budget deficit and external debt, as well as the implications for economic growth in Nigeria, show that low levels of debt contribute positively to growth, while high levels of debt above the threshold value contribute negatively to growth. The study suggested that the government should finance a budget deficit through external borrowing only if certain conditions are met. And what are the conditions? Number one, the investment capital required is so large that it cannot be raised conveniently through other means. Two, the real economic rate of return is reasonably greater than the real interest on the debt finance investment projects, among others. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in the year 2012, we published a paper that investigated whether or not migrant remittances have any detrimental effect in enhancing economic transformation in Nigeria. By examining its impact on the Nigerian economy, findings reveal that remittances do positively impact per capita income of Nigerians. Though some experts have argued that remittances are neither a panacea nor a substitute for sustained and domestically engineered development endeavor for curing the problems of low-income countries. Findings from our studies imply that it can actually enhance small-scale savings and aid in capital accumulation and productivity enhancement. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my contributions to the development of human resources. In my close to 20 years of teaching in this great university, I participated in the training of more than 4,000 undergraduate students in economics for our country, and about 2,000 MSc students in economics. I successfully supervised more than 220 MSc in economics students projects and about 43 PGD in economics students project to completion. 5 of my colleagues in my department were at one time or the other my undergraduate and postgraduate students, respectively. I've also supervised more than 45 master in public and international affairs students project to completion. Equally, I've supervised more than 30 master in international law and diplomacy students projects in the Faculty of Law to completion. I've successfully also supervised and co-supervised the dissertation of 3 economics PhD students to completion, and by the grace of God, they've all been awarded PhD degrees. They are Dr. Togotoya, he has changed his name to Dr. Babaso Ishianji House, just wave your hand. Dr. Laleye, a citizen of Benin Republic, that means you are introducing for other nations. Dr. Anthony Osobase, they are all lecturers in tertiary institutions contributing their quota towards manpower development. I'm currently supervising more than 7 PhD students. I was honored to supervise the thesis of Osobase Tony, who won the Best Prize Award, Best PhD thesis award in public finance, banking, and economics during the 2017 convocation ceremony of this great university. Just last year, in 2018, I was a co-recipient of the 3rd Prize Award in the category of Faculty of Social Sciences Best Researcher at the University of Lagos Annual Conference and Fair. Mr. Vice Chancellor, over the years, I've been an external examiner to many tertiary institutions within the country and outside. I've assessed and examined MSc, MPhil, and PhD thesis of many postgraduate students in many tertiary institutions within the country and abroad, as shown. Furthermore, I've served as an assessor for appointments and promotions of both professorial and non-professorial candidates in many institutions, such as University of Education, Winneba, Ghana, Obafemi Awolowo University, NISA, among others. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I have served and I'm still serving the University of Lagos. In various capacities, through numerous committees and boards as listed. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I was appointed by the former Vice Chancellor, Professor Rahman Bello, to serve the university as the Deputy Director in the Distance Learning Institute for the period between 2014 and 2016. For this act, I'm very grateful, sir. To the best of my knowledge, I served diligently, and together with the director then, Professor Gani Oke, we enhanced the production of learning materials from less than 20% at the beginning of my tenure to 90% across all disciplines at the end of my tenure. I successfully coordinated library activities during the National Universities Commission revalidation exercise in 2015 and post-revalidation exercise. And on these 2 occasions, the DLI received very high commendation from the NGC. I also coordinated the activities of the counseling unit and learner support. And the same thing, the NGC recommended us, gave us a very high recommendation, and our effort was a reference point among distance learning institutes in the country. Mr. Vice President, I was appointed as the head of department in August 2017 to the glory of God. I'm enjoying the tremendous support of my colleagues today. Staff welfare and promotion has been held in IS teams, and this has been producing fruits in an unprecedented fashion. Town and gown collaborative efforts have been yielding fruits. In 2018, just last year, the department signed a memorandum of understanding with financial derivative company, a foremost financial company, to conduct research on a number of economic issues which will guide policy formulation in the country. By so doing, they have attracted research grants to the university. And our students were the immediate beneficiaries of the MOU. Through this, early in the year 2018, 2 master's class graduates were given employment after their brilliant performances at the interview process, even before convocation. In the year 2018, we organized our annual public lecture series, and the distinguished guest lecturer then was Ogbeni Raoul Aregbesola, former executive governor of the state of Osun. He endowed a 50 million chair, professorial chair, in applied economics, which will soon come to physical manifestation. In the area of program development, in March 2019, members of staff labored to put together 4 proposals for the establishment of 4 new academic programs in the department. The proposals for the new undergraduate programs were sent to the Curriculum Review Committee of the university, and we are soliciting for speedy approval of this proposal, and hope that the new programs will be operational from the 2020-2021 academic session. To the best of my knowledge, this is the first time in the history of the department, Mr. John, that we are requesting for approval of 4 new undergraduate programs at once. The expansion is necessary, and we create room for career progression of members. And we need to know that economic science is dynamic, it's not static. So we need to know, we need to be globally competitive. That was the essence of putting that together. Now, I have done a few consultancies, but worthy of note is my participation in a CBN, NISA, Small and Medium Enterprises Survey project in 2004, where I acted as a supervisor. I've served as a resource person in many fora. For instance, in the year 2016, I participated as a resource person for Central Bank of Nigeria in the training of finance correspondents in Nigeria. I'm currently serving in the advocacy and public sector committee of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And just recently, I accepted the invitation to serve as a member of Nigeria Economic Summit Group Board Committee on Research. Shortly after my professorial appointment in the year 2016, the Professor RISIKAT DAUDA Academic Prize Award to the best female graduating student in the Department of Economics was endowed in this great university to encourage and empower female students to put in their best, believe in themselves, and know that women's education does not end in the kitchen anymore. Mr. Vice President, I have attended many gatherings to deliver papers as guest lecturers advancing the cause of human development. In 2015, I served as a mentor at the Committee on the Status of Women in the Economics Profession at the Allies of Social Sciences Association, that's ASA meeting in Boston, Massachusetts, United States of America. The ASA meeting is very important. That's where we have the largest gathering of economists in the world. Periodic visitation has been made to some care centers like Modupepo here. I'm a co-founder of a non-governmental organization called Atara Itelu Akichi Foundation. Through this both steps, I intend to initiate human development initiatives aimed at developing the capabilities of the marginalized group to make informed choices that will improve their lives and foster sustainable development. Recommendations, sir. The government should provide a favorable and conducive macroeconomic environment for private sector-led growth with the aim of transforming the economy to become more productive, diversified, and globally competitive. And there is a need to have massive public investment in educational development in this country. The federal government should emulate global efforts to engender education development by declaring 2020-2030 as Nigeria's development decade in the area of education. Within this framework, efforts must be made to significantly increase public funding to the sector. An average of 30% budgetary allocation to the sector during this period should be appropriate. There should be strong commitment to promote women's empowerment. There is also the need for government to focus attention more on rural and urban poverty alleviation. In this regard, a crucial factor in providing solutions to the issue of poverty is population control. The glaring fact before us is that many scholars and policy makers still believe that rapid population growth is not a problem in Nigeria, given the country's huge natural resources and oil revenue. The truth is that population is still a big problem. It's a big issue in Nigeria. Effort and sincerity must be displayed to promote population control. Religion has been used to deceive many people into believing that procreation is God-given method of asset accumulation. This extremely dangerous belief must be tackled through vigorous sensitization programs in all states of the Federation. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my concluding remarks. My studies have shown that for 58 years after Nigeria gained independence from the colonial masters, its overall economic rate has been too low to make a significant mark on human development. The economy base has yet to be diversified, and structural imbalances continue to plague the economy. The state of the quality of life and social indicators leaves much to be desired, despite the plethora of economic governance structures and the implementation of many development plans, strategies, and policies. This outline demonstrates that there are no simple answers and no easy rights in the quest for better economic outcomes. Inclusive economic growth and sustainable development in Nigeria. But just listen to this. It is my belief that inertia is not an option. Slowness is not an option. There is a need for us to tackle all the obstacles. I will conclude presuming that we are all in agreement that sound economic doctrines and outcomes are meaningless if there are no visible positive transformations in the lives of people. Any policy measure targeted at promoting sound economic outcomes must have a human face. Investment in people remains the centerpiece of any meaningful economic development. Any attempt to unravel the mystery of low human development should go beyond economic interpretation. My fellow economists on the African continent must understand that economics is a dynamic science. This dynamism has culminated in radical transformation of thought, analytical methods, and techniques. Economics as a social science does not explain the total behavior of any given society. That has been proven thanks to that number in my study. Consequently, it is necessary to study economic problems in the context of their interdependence with other social sciences. And in suggesting solutions to any economic problem or phenomena, such must be conditioned by the totality of their existence and views. Acknowledgement, sir. I wish to start this acknowledgement by thanking the Lord God Almighty, the omnipotent, the omnipresent, the omniscient, who has made today a history in my life. I owe it all to him. He raised me out of the dust, lifted me up from the dunghill, invested in me, and set me among kings and queens. How can I explain it? The daughter of a mechanic and an illiterate woman, person trader, becoming a professor in a great institution like the University of Lagos. willing to sacrifice in order to fulfill the educational desires of my children. May the Almighty keep you strong and healthy in the end to reap the fruit of your labor. My profound appreciation goes to my late uncle, Mr. Abuda Sumola. It was through him I got to know that there was something that we call Bureau for External Aid. In the 80s, may God grant him eternal peace. I should not fail to recognize my siblings and their spouses as listed. I appreciate them all for the childhood memories we share together. My deep appreciation and heartfelt thanks go to my in-laws, the Dauda's family. One of them is here, Dr. RISIKAT Dauda. He was one of our master students. He has his PhD now. He's a lecturer in Redeemers University. He was once my student. I wish to thank the Adekoya's family, family for their support. And sincerely appreciate Mr. Segun Adekoya, they are here, Mr. Segun Adekoya, for their support. Mr. Segun Adekoya was the one who gave me the information about advertisements for various vacant positions, academic positions in this university in 1999. A day before the deadline for submission of application for employment, I applied and you know the rest of the story. I say a big thank you. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I'm immensely grateful to you and the entire management of the University of Lagos, the University of First Choice and the Nation's Pride. My special thanks go to late Professor Sokoluwe, the former Vice Chancellor. I was appointed an Associate Professor during his tenure. May it so continue to rest in perfect peace. I'm much grateful to the immediate past Vice Chancellor, Professor Rahman Ebelo. He promised to be here. It was during his tenure that I was appointed as Deputy Director in UNILAG, and I was also appointed a professor as well. I appreciate you, sir. Professor Michael Adejube was the Dean when I gained employment to this university. I'm very grateful, sir, for the opportunity given to me. I'm equally grateful to Professor Olurode, with whom I first shared the initial title of this lecture. He gave me useful thoughts that culminated in this present title. Thank you very much, sir. I've learned a lot from many professors who have impacted my life positively. They are listed. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Professor Olukayode Amon and Professor Ngozi Osarere deserve special recognition. They both encouraged me not to delay in getting a date for my inaugural lecture. Immediately I was appointed. I expressed my profound appreciation. I appreciate the support of all my colleagues in the Department of Economics as listed. I thank Dr. Akinleye and other members of the inaugural lecture committee. I appreciate you all. Past and present non-teaching staff in my department deserve special recognition. I appreciate you. All heads of departments, academic and non-teaching staff of the Faculty of Social Sciences, the past and present deans of the Faculty of Social Sciences are all appreciated for valuable contributions to the empowerment of staff. I also want to thank the Lord for the gift of a son, an alumnus of this great university, Mr. Kolawole Dauda. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. My appreciation goes to all the colleagues I work with in DLI, and I also thank every person that contributed in one way or the other to my inaugural lecture. Finally, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I wish to express my profound appreciation to my husband, the father of my son, Mr. Kolawole Dauda, an alumnus of this great university. My husband has been my backbone for the past 32 years. Stand up for recognition. My God, nobody wants to permit to call me Olokwewa. Meaning duty. Darling, I appreciate your immense personal sacrifices for the progress of the family and my academic career. I cannot forget your huge financial commitment to my PhD program. You stuck to your guns to support me despite unsolicited discouraging advice from some friends that it is inimical, dangerous, and insidious for a woman to possess PhD degree. I thank you from the depth of my heart for your love. And understanding. As you can see today, your sacrifices are not in vain. I love you and will love you forever. What shall I render unto the Lord for all his benefits towards me? I would like to conclude this acknowledgement by returning all glory to the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the I am that I am, the one who was, the one who is, and the one who is to come, the Almighty, immortal, invisible, the only wise God. For him be the glory, honor, adoration, praise, thanks, now and forever. I thank you all for your attention and time, for your time and kind attention. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this is my inaugural lecture.
Audio Jungle.